it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here. We are focusing in on a very important concept of understanding a psychopathic abuser, and that really is their downfall and their proneness to boredom. The psychopathic abuser has a high propensity towards boredom. They will become easily restless. They will become agitated. They will become nail biters. They will become chronic doers, chronically shopping, chronically having sex, promiscuity, high voltage adventures, escapades, motorcycle riding, fast cars, theft. These are the types of violations and violence that a psychopathic individual, male or female, can engage in to relieve their boredom. And this is described very clearly in a wonderful website called Psychopath and Love. And the author of this website describes why do psychopaths become bored so easily, and that is because they require intense stimulation to feel anything, to become excited, or to have fun. And because of this, nothing is really satisfying to them, and nothing can really keep their interest for very long. They are restless, relentless, and they search for stimulation, and this need is essentially an ongoing pursuit. It hounds them continually like a meaningless and destructive drive for addiction. And for most people, being bored is something that they generally have control over. In other words, they have interests to fill their time, to develop their personality, to enjoy, to enrich their experience of life, and to fulfill the friendships and relationships which they have. And people don't feel a need to go through a number of different superficial relationships to satisfy this boredom. However, the psychopath does. They have a very, in fact, this is their downfall, really their nemesis, is their propensity towards boredom and needing to constantly churn through relationships, use and violate others as a sort of way to pacify this boredom and create that thrill, that excitement of engulfing, love bombing, seducing, and then devaluing and discarding another, going through the idealization, devalue, and discard phase again and again and again. So we will see this in the psychopathic individual who has a high propensity to boredom. And the psychopath is generally well aware of this boredom which is harbored within them. In fact, because of this restlessness, this high testosterone, and this high level of the reward dopamine in their system, and the attending lack of empathy that this creates, they will have a high disposability of people. In essence, they really will dispose of others. They will dispel relationships when it no longer becomes satisfying to them. So if they have a shelf life to the relationships, that is one very accurate way, I think, that a psychopath would understand how they navigate and how they move in relationships. Superficial, glib, very short-lived, and they have a tendency to really vacillate and have a number of different high-intensity, high-risk, dangerous relationships, generally on the basis of sexual in nature. It can be monetary in nature. It can be business-wise. We see the Bernie Madoffs of the world who have a high propensity to abuse others through other means, creating pathological lies out of their business. I don't know that much about Bernie Madoff in all the details, but I do know that There were people who invested millions and millions of dollars with him, and they never got any value or any return. And so it is this propensity of boredom and this greed that the psychopath needs to feel satisfied in their existence. So the psychopath finds this a very uncomfortable state. So they are in essence powerless over this. And I find it very disturbing that people are lacking in patience these days. I think patience is a virtue, and I think it's a very, very overlooked quality in human beings. If you can display patience, understanding, and not be in such a rush, not in such a hurry, but to exemplify patience, I think it not only enriches your soul, but it enriches your value that you see coming into your life, because all good things come in time. And it really is that patience which delivers to you that which you are after. And it can sometimes be satisfied months or years later, in essence, when your prayer is answered, or when what you're after is then manifest in your life or comes into your life and is created. And it is that faith, it is that trust that you have, that relentless and really burning faith and burning trust, which isn't just a passive faith, it's an active faith. Your faith has to be active. Your faith has to be active, not just by your thoughts, but it has to be by your words, by your actions, which help then to bring about and increase and grow your experience and your manifestation of the fulfillment of your faith and your desires. So the psychopath, who has a propensity to boredom, will do things like cash in their 401k. They will be unable to fulfill relationship commitments. So these are the individuals who make unsolicited promises to you. I promise I will never hurt you. I promise I'll always be here. I promise. Well, their actions, they are doing this because they know that the people who are empathic, the people who have a heart, have a need for commitment. They have a need for promises. And so they will oftentimes deceive others by promising, and then promising themselves in a relationship and that they will be there for the long run when they have no intention of or ability to be there for the long run. And it's furthermore exemplified here where she states, boredom is felt intensely during idle moments when psychopaths have exhausted their supply and are left by themselves after their existing sources, really their victims, have been devalued. It is during these times that the psychopath goes on an aggressive pursuit for more. Since they have no conscience, they are uninhibited by their search for relief. And when a psychopath is bored, he may recognize that his grandiosity is only illusion. This recognition is unbearable, according to Dr. Reed Malloy, and he experiences a need for immediate and aggressive gratification to restore his grandiosity. And psychopaths experience this chronic boredom because the empty world of meaningful relationships, because they empty the world, rather. These psychopaths experience chronic boredom because they empty out the world of they empty out the world of meaningful relationships through devaluation. So if they are constantly devaluing others, they really have no connectivity, they have no consensus, they have no connection, meaningful connection with others. And I apologize for that stumbling, but I think it's a very important thing to look at, is that they are constantly building up and devaluing, building up and devaluing, building up and devaluing. So they, in essence, have nothing. And when they experience this nothingness, this is what really prompts them and promotes them to get even more aggressive in their pursuit for a source of supply. So we see them behaving quote unquote out of character, or what they may describe, or others might say as out of character. So in essence, it's saying, oh, well, he's just acting out of character. He truly loves you. He truly he's with the kids, here and there, and he did this. It is because a psychopath who devalues others and oftentimes does this behind the backs of others, as well as to one's face, that they destroy the very supply and power of which they seek to have power over. And so it is in this creation of destruction that they fulfill this need for stimulation. This is how they feel alive. This is how they equate love. This is how they release their aggression onto others. So it's very important for you to realize that if a psychopath has exhausted you, if they have distracted you, if they have lived their downfall at your expense, realize that it's time for you to reconnect with your own limitations and exist within your own humility and your humbleness and your ability to cherish things like patience, to cherish your experience of the beauty in life, the awe, the miraculous, the tumbling of rain, the beauty in a sunset, the magnificence in a winter view, a winter day, looking at the blanket of snow that covers all the ground and has an experience of purity and a freshness in the air. This is the renewal of your spirit, that which the psychopath really only portends to, or create a shallow experience with you, oftentimes along the line of seduction and romance, and they will use these other very human experiences to target you. So be very, very careful. And so protect yourself and your true heart, your true connection, and don't give it to the psychopath who is going to use and abuse. Protect and cherish it for yourself. Experience that within your own reality, and then keep the standards and protections so that you may then find and attract to your reality those who can connect with you on a real and genuine nature and deepen and enrich your experience with life and further magnify its experience so it becomes more real and shared versus destroyed by that with a psychopathic individual who is just using you out of boredom. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.